Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, then be sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a Coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Steve on the level, Thomas van der Zander, Canna Bear, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Amish Battle Merch, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twodwazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMels24, Unimento, Iron26, Endless, Goldie McKiernan, Retro Bill, Level Playing Poem, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and G+, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
I knew it was okay. Thank you very much. Put it in, and just went on, I knew it was okay. And not, it could have been seen as a weapon, of course, but I mean, come on. I said, look at my name. It's an Islamic name I have, isn't it? Right. Okay. So I'm a Muslim like you. Okay. I'm not going to terrorize my own people. I said, that's my name. Yeah. Okay. We're not terrorists.
Exactly what a terrorist would say.
Nice one, Nathan. I had to defend your honor and integrity in the Gem Panda server the other day because they were calling you the P word. You know the woman's the P word? Yeah. Are you there?
Yeah. No, I don't.
The P word, pussy. You know the word, pussy. They were calling you a pussy because of your position of not wanting to go. Yeah. Go ahead.
It takes a dick to know a pussy.
Exactly. That's what I said. A hole of an ass, a head of a dick is what I said. Dickhead, asshole is what I said. But I said to them, Nathan Oakley's position is coming from honor and integrity in that the earth is measured flat, okay? And we don't need to go there to know that, all right? And that's his position. It's a waste of money. We can already tell you there's no 24-hour sun. So it would be a waste of money and time for him to embark on that. Maybe on a private holiday for himself, go skidooing, that's worthwhile for him, yes. But to waste time to prove something that doesn't exist, no, why would he want to do that? So I said, no. And then they were complaining that, you're swearing at your guests. I said, not all the time. But if the guest is being obnoxious and evasive and, obfuscating, then sometimes certain words are necessary. All right.
Hey, but Jim, what happens if there's only 23.5 hours of sunlight in Antarctica? What happens if it's only, I don't know, 23 hours?
Yeah. There is no
what does 23. It prove?
There is no 23 hour. There isn't. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, but why 24 hours? Oh, not 23.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I see your point. But there are a bunch of wallies anyway,
My point remains, what is going to prove?
Exactly. You know what I said? I said I'd like to go and to kill them with flat earth only. So I won't be talking about my holidays. I won't be talking about my family. Nothing private, just flat earth. From 2015 right the way through to the present day. I'm going to be talking about all the videos that I've watched, Celebrate Truth. When Nathan Oakley came on the scene, I think it was 2017 when he arrived, or late 2016.
Much earlier
than
than that.
Kind of stuff. Yeah, that kind of stuff is what I'd be talking about. Nothing private of my life. Nothing. I murder them with flat earth. I'd love to do that. And how it's not measured a spherical ball earth. And look at these images. That's what they'll be hearing from me. I'll talk them to death about flat earth and how that globe is so hideous. Yeah, I'd love to be in that position. And I'd be cooking my own food. I'd eat nothing they've got. So I'd be doing my own food anyway. Drinking my own drinks. Don't trust them. For them to try and poison me. And I'd say to them, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, every man for himself. So if you fall down a hole or a crevice, don't call my name. I'm not here to help you. And vice versa. I won't be calling your name. I want help from you low lives. You know? Yeah. And I won't be sleeping as well. Be watching everything they do. But I'd love to go there. I'd like to go there. I'd like to go there just to fucking kill them with flat earth.
What's the big deal? They all want Nathan to go there. They want one of us there. What's it going to prove? It's not going to prove a thing. Even if you see a 24-hour sun, the earth is still measured flat, you morons.
Yeah, that's what I said to them. That's what I said to them. It doesn't matter if we go or not at the end of the day. The thing is, what about the curvature and the lack of spin? And we're not hurtling through the universe without a container for the air pressure we've got in a vacuum. I mean, come on. What's going on here? You know, all that's disappearing.
Yeah, nothing's changed. They're still assuming that they're on a ball.
I know. You know what I said to them? I said, you know, why are we squabbling now about the 24-hour sun when by rights you should have video footage from the 1960s when I was born? Where's that material? We shouldn't be squabbling here. This is not some. You should be able to produce that 24-hour sun in the 1960s. Why is it that the National Geographic, they went to the North Pole and documented that well? Why didn't they do the South Pole with a 24-hour sun? What happened? Did they forget? Did they run out of money? Run out of funding? Sponsorship? What's going on? You know. So I said, no.
Well, I'd like to know the elevation for this observation. Yeah. The observation is going to be done from where? Which location? And what's the elevation of the location? Is it from the top of a mountain? Is it from surface level?
Glacier something, I've forgotten now. I know they'd have to go to a place called Hercules Point or whatever, and then from there they go to Glacier something. The point is, you're right. Yeah, what's the elevation? I don't know.
But do you know why? Hold on, Jin.
Go on.
You're feeding back quite badly. Can you turn your speakers down?
Okay. Let me mute my mic.
Do you know why he's asking the elevation, though? There's a specific reason. And it's not because he wants to know how high off the sea they are. You know why he's asking that, Jin?
Is it the old heights of stars switcheroo?
No.
Asking what? I didn't hear the question.
George is saying, I'd like to know their elevation. Now, as soon as he said that, I know that...
Yeah. Why is he asking?
Yeah, do you know why?
Not really, no.
That's okay.
No, I don't know.
No, that's okay.
I don't understand it.
No, it seems like, well, why would George need to know how high they are? Well, he doesn't. He doesn't care. But the reference for height everywhere on Earth will always be with respect to sea level. It's an elevation off the surface level, described with sea level. Now, there's going to be multiple concepts that are used in this trip that require a flat Earth. Height's one of them. Right, George? That's why you're asking. Do you care how high they are? No.
Well, not really, no. You don't really care.
Exactly.
Because it's got to be referenced from sea level. Yeah.
My question is because you can observe the sun as well and the sun's elevation. So your elevation is relevant as well. Both elevations are relevant in this case. Because we're talking about elevation from the surface level.
Yeah, so it's game over. There'll be many, many concepts used in this, begging the question affirming the consequent false dichotomy fallacy that need a flat Earth. That's why it's pointless.
In other words,
Exactly.
what does your height and the height of the sun have in common? The answer is the same baseline. Because you need to have a baseline for height. In this case, is surface level, sea level.
Yeah, like on screen now.
Good morning, gentlemen. Did you guys speak with Brandon Worrell? He was specifically looking to meet Nathan. He's a globe believer, and he's in the main text chat asking for the proof of firmament. Brandon, you are unmuted. Would you like to speak? He did sound like a genius the other day, like actual genius. So I would like everybody to hear this guy speak. Brandon,
No, you're just making fun of the way I talk now, because you know I'm not a genius.
I don't even care how you talk. I just want the proof of the globe, man. I don't care how you talk.
And I never said I'm a genius. That's you saying it. I don't know why you're saying it, though.
I didn't say you're a genius. I said you sounded like one. So what's the proof of the globe that you got? And why are you here? Do you have any questions? Let's forget about what I said. Let's talk about what you said.
Okay, I'm just waiting for proof of the full moment. That's all. I'm not here to prove anything. I want proof of something.
You don't have a globe proof. You're just a globe believer.
I want proof of something.
All right, who was claiming?
Well, do you have any questions? Let's make this simple. Do you have any questions?
Well, that's my main question. It was like proof of the full moment, proof of the container that it's assorted.
Who claimed there was? Who claimed there is? Who are you asking?
There's everybody in here saying there is a container.
Or you heard me say what?
I heard people in here say that there is a container. So I would like proof of that.
Were those the words I actually used?
There were people in here that have said it. I didn't say you. I didn't say anybody. I said people in here.
How would you get gas pressure without one?
Well, you're breathing air right now, which is pressurized gas. Therefore, container must exist. There you go.
Okay, can I have proof of this container?
Yeah, you
I
just
gave
had
it to you.
Hold on. Stop. Everyone stop a second. Stop a second.
Just
stop a second.
Is proof?
Stop a second. You didn't acknowledge what was said to you, Brandon. So you were given proof in the form of an antecedent-consequent relationship, with gas pressure being the evidence that you were given. But you didn't acknowledge it. You seem to just... it seems like you're talking before I finish my sentence there, Brandon. Seems like you're talking before I finished. Don't know why. What I'm doing is seeking that you would acknowledge the standard of evidence they gave you before asking them for evidence, which makes me think you didn't listen to them. Want to acknowledge what they've told you before you hand wave it, so that they know you've actually heard it, so they don't have to repeat it to you.
Okay, yes, you did say that though wasn't extended because of gas pressure, but is that sufficient evidence? Just saying something.
But are you suggesting that that's not sufficient evidence?
No, I'm asking if it is or not.
It's been presented as the bleeding evidence. That's self-evident by the fact it was presented to you. My issue being that you didn't acknowledge it. Now you've acknowledged it. I'm asking, based on your acknowledgement, do you not accept the antecedent-consequent relationship of gas requiring something to press on to form pressure? Do you not accept that?
Well, it's definitely in the definition of gas for sure. I acknowledge that. It's
so in order to have gas, so you acknowledge it. I just need a yes. Then you can shut your stupid mouth. So you acknowledge it. It's part of the fucking definition. Shit for brains. Yeah. So you acknowledge it. It's part of the fucking definition. You stupid clown. Now sit down and shut your dumb fucking mouth. I'm done with you. Interrupt me, you stupid twat. Yeah, you accept it because it's part of the fucking definition. Now you're a fucking retard. So sit down, shut the fuck up. Done with you, spastics.
Way to prove Gem Panda right, Nathan.
Well, he's a retard. You got any evidence? What, like the one you got 25 seconds ago that you didn't acknowledge? Yeah, that was the evidence. Well, is that good enough evidence? Well, do you not accept it? Well, it's part of the definition. So why are you even arguing with us, you stupid belligerent little twat? You accept it's part of the definition, Brandon. So we must have containment or we wouldn't be frigging breathing. It's part of the definition. You already understood this. Yet you're here asking us for evidence. You already understand the evidence. So you're just a dick here to argue. That's why I'm shouting at you, Brandon. You may respond. You're just an arsehole, right? Just an antagonist. You may speak.
No, I'm not trying to antagonize anybody. I was just asking for proof of the full moment.
And you got it. And you got it, didn't you? In the form of gas that requires something to press on to form pressure, as you understood it, it's part of the definition. So given that you already understood this, why the hell would you be asking? Are you retarded?
Well, no, I'm actually what's called disabled. And
mentally? Are you mentally retarded?
I have cerebral palsy. I mean,
so you're not mentally retarded then? It's a physical ailment. So it doesn't affect your mental faculties then? So, my question again, why the fuck would you even ask? You already know the definition, don't you, shit for brains?
So it being the definition, it's enough evidence for you?
Yeah, it's what defines it! You stupid man! You're testing my fucking patience, man. Yeah, it defines what it is! Oh, is that not enough? Oh, well, if it actually defines what it is, I don't think that's good enough. Yeah, shut up, Brandon. You people are all twats. Do you hear me, twat? Go away and be a twat on your own fucking time. I'm done with you bunch of twats. Is it not good enough? It defines what it fucking is. And you're asking me if that's good enough? You're just stupid. Do you hear me? Yes, it's good enough. It's what defines it.
If I may just add this.
It's what defines it. Yeah?
Or if I may just... Sorry, yeah. Brandon, if that's your name, I've heard you before with your disabilities. The thing is, if you've got the money, you can go and check for yourself if you want. See how far you get. If you really want to know if it's there or not, okay, if we do have this container, why don't you go out and try and find out whether we got it or not? That way you would know for yourself, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
No, what? We're talking about firmaments. He's asking us to antagonise us. Nobody claimed firmament. The moment he started talking to me, he changed the word to container. So already he's disingenuous. Where's your proof of firmament? Nobody said the word, nobody claimed proof of it, so he immediately changes the goalposts to a different word. Okay, so you're a prick. Right, prick? We don't like pricks around here. Pricks that prick around with words, change the meanings of the things they're asking for immediately when nobody's claiming them. That just makes you and the rest of your globe-believing zealot pricks arseholes. Yet you've strawmanned us and then changed the word that you used. Arsehole. So we're not talking about firmaments then. We're talking about pressure and the necessary antecedent of containment as per the definition, which obviously isn't good enough for a glurf idiot whose only purpose is to antagonise us. Who said firmament? Nobody.
but also he can point it out to the main point, that means to ask flat earthers about the surface, not about the gas around the earth, you know, because gas around the earth will not prove the shape even spherical or flat. And Brandon is here for 1 year for sure, even more, you know, he knows everything. It's stupid that he asks any question. He knows everything what we are claiming. That is show for him or for his ego, or he wants to be live on native show or something like that.
Oh
Nothing
my
else I
God.
can
Gas
see.
pressure without containment proves that there's no freaking vacuum of space. That's it. We now
Yeah,
have measurements. Tell him to go back to the freaking drawing board or go on Gem Pandas. They're always going to do that, Nathan. Anytime gas pressure without containment comes in, they come with a dome or firmament, and they hold you to that.
Tell him I swore at you for your absolutely outrageous repositioning of a word we didn't claim. Yeah? And tell him you got swore at for it. When you defined the very nature of gas pressure and still felt necessary to ask whether or not we would have the antecedent consequent that's part of the definition. Yeah, that got you swore at. Justifiably so. It got you called stupid. Justifiably so.
Okay, I'm sorry I did come in here wrong. I guess I shouldn't have started that way. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Sorry I swore at you.
Yeah, unless
Until
you
you
can
do it
show
again.
gas pressure without them, you know?
You can't. It's part of the definition of what gas pressure is. The force exerted on the walls of the container. That's what gas pressure is.
Well, I mean, at ground level, you have gas at ground level, and
Ground
it's
level.
not- and
On the ground level.
on the
Welcome to Flat Earth.
ground. Yeah, well, we are right here.
Not on spherical ground, only on ground level.
Yeah, so on ground level, welcome to Flat Earth.
No, there's gas down on the ground where you are right now, and it seems to me like nothing is containing it.
Hold on, hold on. Sasha, he didn't. I interrupted him. Now you're interrupting him. Let's all just get a check on ourselves. He's apologised. We all need to reset. I've apologised for swearing. He's apologised for taking us on some mad red herring chase after firmament. We're all reset now. He can get to the end of his point without us interrupting him. There's no need for this. I'm sorry I interrupted. I don't want to encourage anybody to do it again. Feel free to continue, Brandon.
Oh, thank you. I mean, like, down here, where I am right now, there was gas, and it seems to me there was nothing really containing it down here.
What?
You can go higher up in the atmosphere and say, yeah, there was containment there, but down here it doesn't seem like there's really containment.
Is it under pressure?
Under pressure, therefore...
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's just circle jerked around to the same exact point. Yeah, so to have any gas pressure at all, there must be containment. What you're doing is sitting in a giant container and going, well, if I go a metre higher, there's nothing containing the gas pressure that was a metre below a minute ago. No, but to be in pressure, you must be under containment to be in pressure at all. Again, that was the point that we kind of got annoyed at you with, because you understood that it met the definition of what must be to be pressure. You're saying, well, I'm at pressure. Okay, so we all understand that we're under containment then. Oh, well, I don't see how there can be any containment here. No, you wouldn't be at pressure if there wasn't. I thought we already covered this. You've explained that you understood it was part of the definition. Now you seem to be doubling down on this idea by way of just inferring that if you're at pressure and you can't see a container, you don't see how there can be one. No, there must be one.
Would there be a gradient? I don't know.
How would you measure the gradient? What type of gradient would it be? A gas pressure gradient described from sea level?
I'm way not very knowledgeable at this. I think it would measure with a barometric meter. I don't know.
Described with respect to sea level in feet or meters. Second time.
And is it possible that
it's just a yes? You're looking for the word yes? I'll try it a third time, shall I? It was met with 2 mumblings and a stony silence. I'll try a third time. So the height of this pressure gradient that we're going to discuss that also would require containment because it's gas pressure that's gradiated. First containment, then pressure, then gradiated pressure. It's a delta of pressure that already needs containment. Nevertheless, I'm asking about the height of this gradiated pressure and how it will be described with respect to sea level in height, described with feet or meters. The word I'm looking for is yes, because that's a correct statement that I just need an affirmation of.
Yeah, because what else? I don't know. So
You don't know how heights are described?
Oh, height. Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were talking about, but
Heights above sea level for the gradiated pressure in your claim. It's the 4th time I've covered it. It was your claim. I'm asking you about the height of the gradiated pressure you'll be describing and how that will be described. You said barometric pressure. I said, yeah. And the height of the pressure that's being described is at a given altitude, like you gave with ground level. And it's going to gradiate with height described with what? Zorbins? Cumets? No, feet and meters from sea level. That's the 5th time. 5 times. Just need a yes.
That's what you should do.
Just need a yes. The pressure gradation, 6th time, will be described with its height above sea level, won't it? 6 times.
Yeah, I already said
Yeah. That doesn't mean I finally get the yeah and you can carry on waffling. It was a closed question that just needed a yes and it took 6 attempts and you still seem to be talking. Now I've got my affirmation. That'll be a yes. It's going to be described from sea level. Welcome to Flat Earth. To describe this gradation, a delta of gas pressure that absolutely, unequivocally, part of the definition requires containment to exist, will be described from a flat Earth. Its elevation with respect to sea level. Like everything, this barometric pressure is going to be described from a flat Earth. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Do you agree with that, Brandon?
Not agree, disagree. Height of barometric pressure, feet and inches of above sea level is a fact. He's not going to say, I disagree, it's the height above sea curve. It's a flat Earth measurement. It doesn't matter if he agrees or disagrees. It's not agree, disagree situation.
Or does he at least understand?
Much better question. Why would he understand? It only took 7 attempts, 4 stony silences and some mumblings, and an affirmation with a little bit of waffle that followed the affirmation to a closed question. Yes, it doesn't matter if he understands. He's here asking us about firmaments and gas pressure gradients. He's the archetypical, stereotypical glurf scumbag.
Morning.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, good to be here, he says, after a slightly stress-inducing pre-show with glurf scumbags. He later apologised, and then carried on rinsing and repeating, in fairly typical standard style that Globers do. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Well, it just doesn't seem like you have gas pressure.
We're breathing it.
Oh, my bad.
Without the balloon, there can be no pressure.
It's an antecedent-consequent relationship. First, you must have something to actually put the pressure upon. That's a container of some description. Sealed if you're going to try and form gas pressure inside it. Now, once you've got a container, the area of volume will be the area that the gas that you put inside that container will dissipate into and press upon the walls of it. Now, if you've got a big enough system, you can develop gas pressure gradients. So first you have containment, then you have gas pressure, then you can have the delta of gas pressure, which is a gas pressure gradient. In the case of Earth's gas pressure gradient, it's described from sea level. A flat Earth prerequisite to describe it. And the fact that we are arguing against this antecedent consequent relationship that has a delta is a red herring, because who cares about the delta that comes after you form pressure? You first need to form pressure. So there must be containment in order for us to have gas pressure to breathe. Why would we as flat earthers even care about this subject? Well, in truth, we don't. I couldn't give a toss. I've no interest whatsoever in the air I'm breathing, beyond me not dying because there isn't enough of it, for whatever reason. Which there wouldn't be if the sky was a vacuum. I'd be dead. Because the gas that I'm breathing would fill that availability of volume at 10 to the minus 17 torr instantly. We'd have never developed gas pressure. We wouldn't be breathing if the sky was a vacuum to travel to the moon, to travel to Mars, to put things in orbit. There is no sky vacuum. It's the only reason we're discussing what is the antecedent consequent relationship of gas pressure and containment. Because I have no interest in this. It's us responding to the positive assertion that the sky is a vacuum. It isn't. It violates the second law of thermodynamics, entropy. Gas fills space. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
There's no way to measure that distance.
But they've got a claimed distance. Do you know where that comes from?
Whoa. What do you mean there's no way to measure that? In school, I
What are
learned
you?
how
What are you
far the
talking
sun
about?
was.
Well, Neil first, then George.
I'm just saying, in school, I learned how far the sun was. It changed, but they said 93 million miles away. What's the problem?
The 93 or 96? I always get those two wrong. Not that it matters.
We'll say 94.
Yeah, but they've extrapolated that distance based on Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion. But you still need something to scale with. And they just choose one light in the sky and suppose that it has the same spherical value of Earth when deriving Earth as a sphere from elevation angles to the stars. Well, when you've derived Earth as a sphere with flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars, Christian Huygens, can suggest that Venus has the same spherical value as a light in the sky as Earth as a sphere when measured flat with elevation angles to those stars. That's where they get their
That's
values.
pretty bold to assume that you're on a sphere. And with that assumption, you got it. Did I hear you say that you got it from flat Earth elevation angle measurements?
Yeah, first you measure the stars with angles.
How did it make it a sphere?
Yeah, first you measure the stars with angles, then you create the sphere with those angles. Then you can put yourself on the sphere to suggest that that sphere is moving in an orbital motion around the sun. Well, you can extrapolate out all the movements based on Keplerian elliptical orbital motion, but you still don't have a distance or a size for anything. You need to scale it. That's where Christian Huygens comes in and suggests, with an ingenious assumption, that Venus, in the Keplerian orbital motional world, has the same spherical value as Earth, and Earth's spherical value comes from flat plane measurements of the stars. Make sense? Of course it doesn't.
So first you measure Earth flat, then you convert that to a globe, then you assume a light in the sky is a sphere the same size as Earth, then you can get the measurement of the sun.
Well, you missed a step. First you put that sphere that we derived from the flat plane measurements in motion around the sun.
Ah, yes, the orbits that you need a flat plane for. Got it.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, you were 99% there. Exactly. First you measure Earth flat, then you create a ball. Then you take that ball, put it in motion around the sun. Then you change the motion that was circular into elliptical. Then you scale that elliptical motion, with Venus being the scalar. But it's only the scalar because Earth's a scalar, and Earth's scale is derived from the flat Earth measurements of the angles to the stars. It all makes total
favorite-
sense
The
if you believe you're on a
reference is
ball.
measured flat then.
Yeah, it's measured flat, yes.
My
Further to
favorite
that-
part is the assumption of Venus being floating soil.
Yeah, soil in the sky that we could somehow travel to through the motion that's created in the elliptical world. But we can't. We can't travel through a sky vacuum. That's where this all started, right?
There's something else to the incident angle that you'll measure requires a flat Earth.
Incident angle to
So-
what?
When they say radar or any kind of measurement, you're going to have a plane of reference for that.
But when they're claiming distance with radar measurements to the sun, you're saying that the return angle is with respect to a plane of reference, correct?
Yes.
Of course it
Always.
is. Makes perfect sense. We measure Earth flat for everything. So in the pre-show, Jim was talking about final experiment. Apparently I'm being called a pussy because I don't want to go to Antarctica. I have no need to go to Antarctica to assume antipodal positioning. Now, Level Earth Observer recently exposed Dave and Jaron, that's Dave Weiss and Jaron Campanella, talking about going to Antarctica and what the results may be. And it was asserted by Dave that if it was to be the case that they observed a 24-hour sun moving around their location in Antarctica, then they would have to concede a ball Earth. This is incorrect. This is affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy that requires an antipodal assumption on the part of Dave, Jaron and Whitsitt, who are the shills involving themselves in this fraud. The only way that this can evidence a globe is if you show us that you are travelling to the bottom of a globe. To assume that you are on the bottom of a globe and then observe a sun that may or may not move around you in a 24-hour duration does not affirm the consequent. It does not prove your automatic assumption of antipodal ball positioning. Furthermore, the antipodal ball positioning that's being assumed was created with flat Earth measurements. That is all.
Also, the logic of it would formulate as if I observe the elevation of the sun above the horizontal plane of reference for 24 hours, there is no horizontal plane of reference.
Yes, the description of the sun being above the horizon with respect to a horizontal plane of reference defies the automatic antipodal assumption that's taking place in this fallacy. The trick, in case anybody hasn't caught it yet, we've been saying it for about 6 months, is to get your opponent, in this case us, to assume their ball position when making the observation. So long as, if you want to know, why are they so keen to get me down there? Well, because so far, Jaron's going down there, and Whitsitt's going down there, and Dave Weiss is talking about being down there. What's down there? What, on the bottom of a ball, I'm assuming, when I travel out towards the horizon, with the maps that were created with elevation angles and celestial navigation with respect to a plane? No, I'm not going down anywhere. I'm going out towards the horizon. So I say we're going out towards the horizon. What are you going to say? No, we're not. We're going to the bottom of a ball, on we go. No, we're not. Pitch data proves it. We're not travelling across a curved surface. Everything is reference flat. But if I say, okay, I'll go to Antarctica, what does the opponent do? Nathan's assuming we're on the bottom of a ball when we get there, because he's going down there with us. No, I'm not going to assume antipodal positioning. I've put this objection to them. It's not been overcome. Call me a pussy all you like. I have put this objection of antipodal assumptions in affirming the consequent fallacies stacked up in false dichotomy to the people appealing me to go down there. It has not been addressed. It's that simple. Furthermore, based on the claim of the title of this endeavour, the final experiment, it is fraud. I have also put this on several occasions to Will Duffy personally. I've also personally asked, prior to calling him a fraud, for the independent and dependent variable required in the hypothesis for it to be called an experiment. It has not been forthcoming. Duffy is a fraud. So number one, I don't need to assume antipodal positioning just by being there for you glurf numpty idiots who don't want to hear it. Yeah? You think by not saying it, it's going to slip us by that you've got ballers on the one side of the dichotomy and glurfs on the other. Flat earthers on the other. Well, that means you've automatically got one side of the argument assuming you're going to the bottom of a ball. That's why it's set up in false dichotomy, so you don't notice that one side of the assumption is assuming they're going to the bottom of the ball they're trying to prove. They've already got to the bottom of the ball when they get to Antarctica. They could call it a day there, but they would get called out. Oh, so you're just going to Antarctica so you can say they were on the bottom of the ball when you got there? No, we're there to look at the sun. What's that got to do with you assuming you're on the bottom of a ball? Well, it distracts you, the audience, away from it, doesn't it? But will Nathan come? He's a pussy. What, to the bottom of a ball that you're assuming? No, I'm not going to be doing that, I'm afraid. Now, do I give a toss what the sun does? No. Seemed consequential 10 years ago. Not anymore. Now we know Earth's measured flat and how all of the inferences of a sphere to assume have come from those measurements. All bets are off. You think I'll give a toss what you see down in Antarctica? No, but I'll just point out that you're down in Antarctica. That's an assumption of the very thing you're trying to prove. It's a begging the question fallacy. Don't assume you're going down to Antarctica. Show us that Earth's a ball. Here's the sun. That's not showing us Earth's a ball. That's showing what the sun does for 24 hours in a location called Antarctica. That you travelled out towards the horizon on a parallel plane with maps that were made using the values of the parallel lights in the sky that we used with the angles that we measured to create those maps that got you there. So Earth was flat on the way. Earth was flat when you arrived. It's still flat when you're looking at the angle with respect to the horizon and the sun above it. Everything's flat.
Why do they call it down under? Downs with respect to a horizontal plane. Are they talking about the equatorial plane?
No, they're talking about the globe that they're assuming that comes after the equatorial plane. They're not actually navigating. They're just begging the question and affirming the consequent. So there's no consequences to the angle measurements. They're just, is it above the horizon or not?
Yeah, but the down part, when they say down under, or we're going down to Antarctica?
Yeah, you're going to have to have a horizontal plane of reference to be describing spherical antipodal or, in reality, flat Earth antipodal with two models sandwiched on top of one another, north and south. Still flat. Yes, you will, to describe down from.
Is down part of the list?
Yes.
That they can't say certain words?
Yes. Yeah, they can't use these words.
And when they're done with their observations, they will come back north, up north.
They'll come up back to the top of the globe that they started on that they assumed before they'd set off.
Yeah, they'll go up north or down south.
No,
But
they're not
that's not how
allowed to
north
go
and
up. They're
south
not allowed to
is,
say up.
But those are not the vectors
not allowed
of
to
north
say
and
north
south.
or
North and
south
south
either.
are horizontal vectors.
Yeah, they are horizontal vectors. That's correct.
North and south, east and west, they can't have those either. Those are with respect to a horizontal plane.
Correct. There's a lot of things.
Dear.
There's a lot of things they're doing that require a horizontal plane, and they're asking me to go down, utilize and ignore all of the flat Earth references that are required and necessary to do this, in favour of ignoring 10 years of what we've done to suggest that I'm on the bottom of a ball before I've done a damn thing. Do it in the north. It's happening now, right? Oh, nobody will be told that they've gone to the bottom of a ball if they do it in the north, which happens regularly. Otherwise, they'd be doing it in the north. But you don't assume you've gone to the bottom of a ball when you do it in the north. That's the bit they need. They don't need the observation. They just need to get you, the audience, or me, to lend them credibility, to go with them while they go to the bottom of a ball.
Yeah, we just added yesterday another word to the list. It's called azimuth. It's a horizontal vector.
Yeah. Like I say, these ideas, these measurements will be employed in the journey. It's not an experiment, it's fraud. It is assuming the outcome because it's got a ball that you go into the bottom of before you do a damn thing, and it isn't affirming the consequent fallacy. If Earth's a sphere and we travel antipodal, we'll observe 24-hour sun. We observe 24-hour sun, therefore we travelled antipodal. It's an affirming the consequent fallacy. It's actually two. If Earth's flat, we will not see 24 hours of sun in Antarctica. We do not see 24 hours of sun in Antarctica, therefore Earth's flat. Two affirming the consequent fallacies. That's what it actually is, in false dichotomy. Shout out to QE who pointed that out.
Yeah. And just a quick hint on the words they can't use. Just think of any kind of vector within a Cartesian coordinate system. They cannot use that.
Oh, go on.
I've got the. I'll just read the update
Exactly,
out,
because
yeah.
George, then one deck.
The Cartesian system itself, it's horizontal plane. That's why
you need a flat Earth for that.
Yeah, it can go on and on. At the moment, we can add to this. It's just 29 words. We've got 29 words not allowed to be used when explaining how Earth curve is measured. Sea level, horizon, horizontal, parallel, plumb, perpendicular, elevation, angles, triangles, sea sextant, theodolite, spirit level, altitude, vertical, tangent, straight line, up, down, plane, north, south, east, west, azimuth, and flat. 29 words, and that's that. You can't use these unless you're explaining flat.
And degrees. They can't say degrees.
No, they can't.
They can't say much.
No, they can't.
That's a tough one. Hold on.
They can't say degrees.
Oh.
Their degrees of latitude are wrapped around the ball. They've turned the protractor into those degrees. So that's probably one exception. It's part of their rhetoric. Now, obviously, it's notwithstanding the fact that they'd have to ignore all of the flat Earth measurements that given the position to be in a ball, to call the globe a protractor, for it to have latitude degrees placed on it, on the surface, for you to assume that you're standing on it and describing the turning of the globe with respect to the centre point. That's hell. So they can do it. It just violates the original measurement when you create a globe in the first instance. But they can and they do, so it's slightly ambiguous. They can't, they need a flat Earth to describe it. You can't turn a globe Earth from hell. There's a lot of problems with it. Doesn't alter that they do it.
In that case, I have more words to add, yeah? Protractor. Can't use a protractor, Nathan, I'm sorry. Because a protractor requires a baseline.
I mean, it's up to one deck. It's his list, but I wouldn't be putting it on there just because it'd end up in the ambiguity being argued about rather than the consistency of the list being solid as a rock, which it is at the moment. There's not a single word on that list that's contentious so far.
One deck you can add.
The thing is, you can use.
Just let Refracted go. He's tried 3 times. Hold on, one deck. Go ahead, Refracted.
Sorry.
Right. The conceptual unit is one thing. They can talk about the conceptual unit, but the moment they try to apply it to reality is when they're going to run into trouble because they have no reference, so it won't be a measurement.
One deck you can add the circles of equal altitude on the list.
So you can. I mean, I did the list originally just with the main words that often come up quite regular with these globers and anti-flat earthers. It can go on forever and ever, probably.
No, those are phrases.
To it, but...
Circles of equal altitude. Yeah, that's a specific description of something. Whereas we're just saying words: north, south, east, up, down, azimuth, altitude,
level, angle, yeah,
flat. These are all things they can't use. Triangle. They're words, right?
Yeah, nothing to do with curvature. And as soon as this, I was called called hostile. I was having this chat with 2 globers the other night, and I just stopped them in the tracks every time they used one of these words. And they was getting a little bit angry that I was stopping them in the tracks, and why can't we use this word? I said, well, you're using words to describe a flat Earth. That's my job. These are the words I use. You won't be using them. You're trying to describe curvature, and you're not doing very well. So they went on again with angle, elevation, sea level, altitude, and I just kept stopping them. And in the end, there was two of them, and they said I was being very hostile and called me lots of names and said they didn't want to talk to me.
Don't they have words for curvature to describe their curvature? Why are they taking our words?
No, they need our words to describe the curvature with. A curve is a deviation from the horizontal, Neil.
Even the word radius,
Well, then
you
they're
cannot
up shit's
use.
creek.
Hold on,
You're
George.
going to need a horizontal plane
Just hold
for
on one
radius.
second. I just want to square this with Neil. Do you appreciate, Neil, that to describe, you will also need a flat Earth to describe Earth curve, right? You get that? It's in the Earth curve maths, yeah?
Well, then they're up shit's creek then, buddy. Sorry, game over.
Yeah. Everything's described with respect to a horizontal plane. That's what we reference to give these descriptions. So if you're describing a hill, yeah, how much it just deviates from level is how you describe the hill. Now, if Earth curve's a hill, the same principle applies. Like with the slope-intercept formula, when they're claiming horizontals, they need them to both reference for horizontal and bend. But the bend itself is a deviation from the horizontal, so you still need the completely level plane to describe it from. Neil, do you follow?
Yeah, they have to. I understand. Show. They can't describe anything without using our words. They can't. That's what you're saying to me.
Without measuring Earth flat, specifically.
Yeah. So they have no choice but to use the words that one deck deemed they shouldn't be using. They have to.
Yeah, and if they're going to use them to describe curvature, as they do, it's right there in the maths, they'll first use a flat Earth to describe it with. That's why they can't use those words.
Yeah, but they have to, Nathan. What do you want? You're really not giving them any wiggle room. No fair.
No, but why would we? The wiggle room is to bend flat. That's the wiggle room.
It's so over for them. I actually do feel a little bad for them.
I don't. The more time goes on, the more heavily censored I feel. Anyway, George, sorry to put you on standby. Go ahead.
Sorry, away from my mic. Even for the radius of Earth, they're going to require a horizontal plane in the first place.
Yeah, like on screen now. The equatorial plane, this is a sectional view of what effectively makes Earth a protractor, with the plane of reference that's actually used if you're going to cross-reference any angle measurements from the surface with a globe Earth in tow. They won't be with respect to the globe Earth surface. They'll be coming from hell off the equatorial plane and extended celestial plane, because that's how Earth's measured. It doesn't work on a curve. You've created the curve with respect to the plane that you measured in the first place. So if you project out angles from this center point, that's how you get these positional pieces of information. You're projecting the line that you took from a star along the plane of reference through the protractor and mapping those points onto the protractor. But for it to function with the angles to the stars, you still have to have a plane of reference in hell to measure through the protractor that gives you the measurement in the first place to the star with a celestial sphere wrapped around it. That was the view that was on previously.
Yeah, the elevation angle from the equator to Polaris and back. Yeah, that's the radius of Earth, a circle of equal altitude. In other words, latitude. It requires a horizontal plane, flat Earth.
It is beautiful, though, and once you get them to make the claim that they live on a globe, whatever nonsense they might be talking about at the time, once they claim they live on a globe, just ask them how it's measured, and then just give them the mic and let them start talking. And they will start to mention these words: angles, sea level, horizontal. And as soon as you do, you stop them in the tracks. It's just it's wonderful. Just give them the mic and let them talk, and they'll just start talking about how Earth is measured flat. They're doing our job for us.
Speaking of giving people the mic, QE has a live stream that's going to be running at 7 p.m. UK, 5 a.m. Sydney Australian time, and 1 p.m. US Central. That's QE Live Open Panel. So be here or be Sphere on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. So if you're up now listening to this going, I'd love to get involved, but I can still taste the toothpaste, then maybe the QE show, which is an open panel show, is for you. Links will be in the description box below his video to join this very same Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So be here or be Sphere on the Quantum Eraser channel. As I say, 7 p.m. UK, 5 a.m. Sydney Australian time, and 1 p.m. US Central on the Quantum Eraser channel.
Well, you know, Nathan, if you can just concede that straight is straight but curved, then we can argue about a globe.
They still need it to be straight and straight, with the angles still being angles. That's why we've got this rigmarole on screen, like Thunderfoot drew, right? Two different North Poles, planes of reference that are going to be transposed into hell. It's all nonsense.
But they also need it to be curved when they argue with us about it. They need it to be straight for the measurement, but curved for the argument.
Yeah, surface level needs to be curved. That's the base argument that we find ourselves in 2024. Surface level must abide by its axiomatic principles of being level, but also curve and violate its very nature. That's their argument currently. Correct.
When you look at a picture of their Earth curve calculator, the surface level doesn't look curved. It's a horizontal line.
Yeah, it's labelled surface level.
Yeah, parallel to eye level.
Yeah, flat. Abiding by the axiomatic principles they'd need to describe the curve from. Surface level's how they're calculating it. It's flat. Earth curve requires a flat Earth too. Please share the show if you've not done so already. Smash that share button, stick it on Bebo or MySpace, or wherever you like your social media tweets to go. Stick it on X, stick it on Facebook.
Yeah, it's so funny.
When I first started looking,
sorry, John.
John, then Monday.
When I first started looking into the after the elevation angle, started looking into what the words mean. Drop is defined as a drop from level to level. I kid you not. They never say what drop is, but that's how they have to define it.
Yeah, it's the difference between eye level and surface level in Earth curve maths, unless I'm mistaken. That's what you're talking about, right?
No, when they curve the line below surface level and they say there's a horizon at that point, they're trying to describe a drop from level to level.
Gotcha.
That's I'm not kidding.
That isn't a false laugh. That's what I was just going to say before, John. I'm finding myself laughing at this, really chuckling. You know, when I listen to Nathan with these globers, and even when I'm doing it, or when we're just talking about the what's actually happening, it's like, wow, this is so funny. They're trying to explain how they live on a globe by explaining how it's flat. I mean, it couldn't get any worse for them.
My patience is wearing
It's
very
funny.
thin with these people, actually, one deck. As much as it does amuse the audience. You know, you listen to the pre-show. My temper got very short very quickly the moment the fundy came in and started asking us about firmaments. And it didn't take long for me to be screaming at the guy, because he knows the outcome, he knows the answer. In his brain, he's just trying to figure a way of getting around that problem. Like it's a problem that gas pressure by definition requires containment. Now, when that person that's asking us about proving that there's a firmament, end quote, is telling us that they understand the definition of the word, and then they resort to asking us if that's satisfactory or not, how it's defined. That's not how I said it in the pre-show. I absolutely yelled it at him, you know, because it's infuriating. We're with reality deniers. Back to the words and their definitions have no meaning. Like, then we have no ability to communicate with one another. This is silly. This is the level that we're descending to deal with globe believers, where they're like, well, does the fact that it's defined that way mean that it is that way? Yes. The fact that you would ask is going to get you shouted and sworn at by me. So if you're watching this on one of the Uncut and After shows as opposed to live, and you're like, oh, Nathan's such a monster shouting at people. Nah, I've done it for 10 years, and I'm sick of people coming in and strawmanning us and immediately being slippery, like saying, you guys claim a firmament, now give me the proof for that which you claim. Well, who claimed it? You say there's container. No, actually, I say containment must be in place for us to have gas pressure, but nevertheless, that isn't a firmament. I haven't said it, but here we are arguing within the context of a glurf that's lied about what we've said we can prove. Firmament, you say? Oh, right.
Well, actually, I want to be fair here, because when we reset and we both apologized, you stopped being mean and you actually started defending me. So I'll give you that.
You offended me immediately as soon as you started talking about a firmament that I hadn't claimed, when specifically suggesting that you wanted to talk to me. So you want to talk to me about a firmament I haven't claimed. You immediately offended me before you'd even opened your mouth.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you apologised for it, and I apologised for swearing at you because you seemed conciliatory, but then immediately went to asking us whether or not the definition was acceptable. Like me yelling at you, that's how it's defined. Didn't have any impact, clearly.
I get what you were saying. It's okay.
So do you understand, then, that there must be containment and the space is fake? Can't be a vacuum. We'd have no gas to breathe, right? You understand that now, yeah?
Then what kind of environment is the Earth in?
Right, my question was, do you understand that there can't be a sky vacuum because the gas we're breathing would fill it? And your response to that is to ask me a question about what I haven't claimed.
No, okay.
Pretty much interrupting me now. I'm summarising what he's done in response. So what he's done in response is completely ignore what I've put to him. This is why in the pre-show he got shouted and sworn at. Zero acknowledgement of what I've said to him. Zero. Instead, a short pause. He's had a little think about how he can reposition the question without answering it, and he's put a question to me about what the universe is. I didn't make any claims about it. Why am I being asked about it? I said the sky cannot be a third. This is the third time. By the time I got to the seventh time in the pre-show, I'm furious with this guy. It's getting that light away. It's only because I'm live that I managed to keep a lid on it. It's now the third time. You understand, based on the discussion we had with 7 attempts for you to concede, gas pressure gradients came from sea level. Welcome to Flat Earth was the response, no acknowledgement. Now we're at, you understand, containment's part of the definition. You'd need it. Therefore, we can't have a sky vacuum. Space is fake. Third attempt. You understand that, right? 101 watching.
Okay. I understand that you're saying space is fake. I have a question to that.
No, it's not that I'm saying it. You've repositioned again. It's not that I'm saying it. Based on entropic law and gas dispersion. Based on the requirement you've conceded of containment. You've now taken that and said, based on what you've said. Okay, so can you acknowledge what I've said then? Based on the antecedent consequent of containment, you understand there cannot be a sky vacuum. Yes?
Okay. Yes. And I have a question for that.
Okay, no, I'm leading you. No, so you understand that space is fake? Okay. Well, that kind of undermines your entire religious zealot belief that we're on a ball in a sky vacuum because it's fundamental to your religious belief. So upon you conceding, yes, I understand we'd need containment to be breathing, therefore there can't be a sky vacuum because that's where all the gas would go, as you've just done. That's the end of the heliocentric religion. It's not just, yes, but I've got a question for you. No, that's the point that I now make a conclusion, having led you here with great difficulty. So I'll conclude. Not time for a question from you. I'll conclude. Your entire religion's bunk, then. Can you concede that? You haven't got a religion in a sky vacuum anymore, then?
So I can't ask a question?
You could concede that your entire bleeding religion falls apart at the seams if you haven't got a sky vacuum, because that's where men in space are claiming to take pictures from. That's where orbital motion exists, that comes from maths of flat Earth measurements. Without a sky vacuum, you don't have a globe religion. Can I ask you a question? Bet you that's the response.
No, that's not the response.
So no globe religion, no sky vacuum, no trips to the moon, no men in space, no Voyager. Nothing. It's all fake. The entire religion collapses upon your understanding that we need to be under containment to be breathing. No sky vacuum. End of religion.
Okay.
Okay. So that's it. Bye-bye globe. You've got no reason to believe in it anymore. It's a violation of natural law. Like everybody watching this. It's not like you entered to ask us about a firmament. It seems you already intrinsically know the antecedent-consequent relationship, but still retain the globe faith. You were introduced as a globe believer. So this is just religious zealotry when you ask me about my firmament, something that's come from religious contexts. It's you projecting your religious faith in a globe in spite of it being bunk. So when you came in and got swore at, it's because of the projection that we're now unveiling for our audience. You have a religion that you will still no doubt retain, in spite of its violation of natural law. That's zealotry. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. As flat earthers, the real ones that know it's measured flat, not the ones like Dave Weiss that say, quote, it could just be a really big ball, end quote, flat earth Dave. No, the real flat earthers, us, the ones telling you how Earth is measured and getting fundamentalist religious zealots to concede their sky vacuum's not real. We will continue to endeavour to point out how Earth is measured in the face of abject zealotry, because that's what the world is inhabited by. They just don't even know it. Religious fundamentalists. Hello, QE. Did you like my plug for your show?
I think.
After you posted it in Skype, I immediately shouted it out.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Be here or be sphere on the Quantum Eraser channel, 7 p.m. UK, 5 a.m. US, Australian, 1 p.m. US Central. Quantum Eraser YouTube channel.
Why'd you have a little giggle over that?
Why?
Yeah, over the Sydney time.
Why? Because it's so early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, bloody lazy Aussies aren't going to be up at 5 a.m. Like how I just slandered an entire nation.
Stereotyping fallacy.
Absolutely. Bloody Aussies.
They're all criminals anyway.
Getting close to that line. I love it.
That was a joke. That was a joke, Australians.
I had a guy I was talking to on Omi TV the other day, and in amongst the pretty crap questions that he gave me, one of them was, do you believe in Australia? I'm like, I'm telling you how Earth's measured flat, and your response is to ask me if I believe in Australia. Are you joking?
Do you believe in grass? Or
Well, it's on the bottom of his ball, isn't it?
On the bottom of his ball?
No, there was.
It's one of those things they conjured from 2015.
Yep.
Right? He must have seen a video, amateur night video from a Weekier Discovery Channel parrot, or heard it from another baltard. You guys don't believe Australia. That sort of, in that vein.
Yeah, it's kind of a...
And or
Go on, John.
Actually, I think it was not Jaron, but it was somebody else from Globebusters that put forth the idea that, well, have you ever been to Australia to assert that it exists, as a defense to the question that were asked?
Yeah, perfect lead into how I was going to explain the juxtaposition between globe Earth and flat Earth. So globe Earthers may have in the past said, I'm not going to... Another guy on OME did this. He was like, I didn't believe the heliocentric stuff. If I can't go there, why would I believe it exists? Now, with that logic in tow, the rebuttal is pretty simple. So if you've not been to Korea, you don't believe Korea exists. Because that's the logic you're employing. Now, obviously, that sets up a nice false dichotomy rather than pointing out, sorry, where were we talking about again? Narnia? Well, if you've not been to Narnia, how can you say Narnia doesn't exist? Because I'd have to travel through a friggin' wardrobe to get there and suffer the consequences of the time dilation that would keep me eternally young if I was to return through it. That's garbage. No, not going to Narnia isn't going to be some rebuttal that you offer me in terms of me, therefore, not claiming Australia exists. This is garbage. We know the area above our head claimed to be a sky vacuum doesn't exist. So does our fundamentalist friend on the panel. You can't have gas pressure that we're all breathing if the sky's a vacuum. That's where all the gas would disperse into. We'd never have developed gas pressure. We'd all be dead in that religious worldview of a ball Earth in a sky vacuum. The sky's not a vacuum. So what's that? Well, you haven't been to the sky vacuum second law of thermodynamics violation, so how can you say it isn't real? Yeah, I can say I haven't been to Narnia. I can say I haven't been to space. But when I show that you can't have time dilation wardrobes or second law of thermodynamics violation gas pressure not dispersing, that debunks the area. They don't have to not go there. It's just silly.
I have another idiot in chat. Buck Sodbuster. It's in your YouTube chat. I just watching it. Buck Sodbuster, you idiot sod. This is what he says. Gas does not uniformly diffuse if influenced by external forces. Number one, that's a straw man fallacy. We never said it uniformly diffuse. And what are these external forces on gases? I'd like to see that. Which is why we have a pressure gradient. That's not why you have a pressure gradient, number one. Number two, where'd you get the gas pressure in the first place to describe a gas pressure gradient, you moron?
First, you have containment.
And then he says, which is why pressure gets lower as we go up. You can't go up on a ball-tard. You can only go in or out, which is why space is a near vacuum. That's a non sequitur. Thanks.
No.
Thanks
Stop.
Come join the panel.
Stop. When he said, then space is a near vacuum, can you just read that bit out again, please? Hello? There's a point where they say gas is getting gradiated and less and less and less, and then there's a vacuum. That's a straight up violation of the second law of thermodynamics, though, isn't it? As soon as they say that. Go on.
Sorry, I was on mute. I said the whole thing, but I was on mute, for God's sake. His last...
I thought you were annoyed that I'd stopped you.
Yeah, see, because I have mic discipline. That's why. But I'll continue with your question. His last statement, which is why we have a gas pressure, no, he didn't say that, which is why we have a pressure gradient, which is why pressure gets lower as we go up, which is why, so three, which is why, space is near a vacuum. That's a non sequitur.
What you're calling a non sequitur is the straight up second law of thermodynamics violation part of it, though, isn't it?
Nah, that was in the first part, but his three premises are all fallacious. So that makes the conclusion non sequitur.
It's the same old delta X garbage. If you can appeal to delta X gas pressure gradients, you think you will whistle past the fact that to have a gas pressure at a gradation, you wouldn't need containment for that also? Yeah, you'll still need gas to be under containment to form a gradient. It doesn't in any way overcome the argument. It's a red herring.
We're getting drugged back into the friggin' 2016. I dealt with this right out the gate in 2016 with the gas pressure gradients and how you train wreck yourselves. I mean, how long ago was that? Do the math. How many times you think we've gone over this?
Doesn't matter. Somebody was in today doing it.
In presentation, in discussion, in how many shows would you guess?
1,000.
No, not 1,000.
Nah,
it's probably
not
close to
1,000.
100, though. I would imagine that there's been hundreds of specialist shows on this very subject. I mean, this would be included in one of them.
Here's his response. QE, that is ridiculous. Well, come on in on the show and we'll discuss it.
Right, that's ridiculous was the response?
Yeah.
But nuh-uh.
At least he spelled it right.
What, nuh-uh?
Ridiculous. Most people spell it R-E. Most morons. He spelled it correctly, which is impressive. Come on in. We'll have a discussion.
What's the guy's name?
Buck Sodbuster.
Doesn't seem to be in the live VC.
I'll bust your grass.
Or you can join QEs later. Feel free.
I wonder if Bucksaw can demonstrate gas pressure without a container.
Real science education. I've seen that one too. Sorry, I'm observing chat skanking. I just have nothing better to do right now. Real science education. Every one of those shows are nonsense. Complete hand wave dismissal. I've seen some of your post real science education. You need a science education. You don't even know what natural science is, you glue sniffing fungus muncher. Come on in here too, real science education. We'll give you an education.
Speaking of giving someone an education, on that politics server, one of the people that we were chatting with was called Atheist Junior. Do you remember him? Well, anyway, that particular participant in the politics server, if you go back and listen, there was a guy that spent a reasonable amount of time with us, fairly prolonged period of time arguing back and forth, and running away and coming back. But that particular guy has also got a YouTube channel, so I might as well shout it out. At least he put in the effort and gave us some content. So, Atheist Junior, and he's got about 8,000 subs. Considers himself a content creator. Good for you. I wish you every success on YouTube, my friend. Thank you for participating in the politics server.
Fuck Sodbuster. This is the last address to your dumbass. He says, who said there wasn't a container? You. Because you're a globetard. Can't be a container. How does all your moon and Mars trips and your satellites get out there?
You know what's coming next.
Say it.
You know what's coming next. Yeah, but I, as the individual, don't say we haven't got a container. They will literally relinquish their entire Gelurf belief in the face of defeat.
Just like, you don't have to say there's not a container. Your religion and your scriptures say there's not a container. It's more or less like, you don't have to say you're a communist. Now, I already know you don't believe in private property rigging ownership because you're a communist. Just as you're a globetard.
Yeah.
You don't believe in a container.
On screen now, we've got this rocket that's claimed to be leaving the surface of Earth flat, with vectors that are described with a flat plane. But that's surplus to this point. Now here we've got claimed to be high pressure gas right next to 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no containment between the claimed to be sky vacuum where gas would definitely disperse, it's the law of nature, and the high pressure gas. And there's claimed to be rockets traversing into the high vacuum from the high pressure gas without any issue. I mean, the gas that would definitely follow them and would never have developed in the first place is just hanging around while the rockets are going through the lack of containment in this religious belief. I mean, it's complete garbage and nonsense. There must be containment. But of course, according to their rhetoric, you've got ball Earths in sky vacuums with things falling around them, and gas not following entropic law, just hanging around at the Kármán line, chilling out, gaining weight, maybe going back down, go boom boom with a gravitational force that's not a force that you can think of as a force. There's all sorts of garbage going on in this stupid religion. Meanwhile, in this stupid religion, there is no containment, there's just a high vacuum with gas not filling it, violating the second law of thermodynamics. But I don't say there is a container. I haven't said that.
Hold on. We have gas pressure. We don't have, I don't see it on Earth. I don't see it where I'm standing. I don't see gas being contained.
Well, just go down the local butane factory, Neil, and then you'll see it getting contained all day.
No, the
You
guy
don't feel
today
wind?
this morning said he's standing here and he doesn't see any containment for the gas pressure that I'm breathing right now.
It's an antecedent consequent relationship. Without
You
the
just put the
container, there
fan
can be
on.
no pressure. Go on, George.
Just plug the fan on.
What, create a differential? Why?
Yeah, just move the existing pressure around the room. It's fine.
Oh, you're going where I was about to take that. Yeah, so long as we can identify the changing in pressure because of a fan, we can then ignore the fact that we've already got gas to push around with the fan that must be under containment for us to have it to push around with the fan. But if I just talk about the fan and the difference in pressure that the fan creates, I can ignore the already inexistent gas pressure that we must have under pressure in containment to do that. Yeah, we've heard that one too. It's the same exact appeal to delta X. Here's a pressure gradient and I haven't got a container. Yeah, but you've already got existing gas pressure. So you must have containment. It wouldn't exist if you didn't.
Remember when they used to say, just look up?
Yeah, so straight up begging the question fallacy. In violation of natural law. Just look up, there's a sky vacuum. No, if I just looked up and said there's a sky vacuum, the gas would be filling it. No, the gas isn't filling it, just look up. It's not filling it.
Why don't they ever say just look out?
If you remember
you
that
can't
time
use
you were in
something.
with Patrick.
Even in my,
Go ahead,
even in my devil's advocate representation of a baller, I'm doing a fair job though, aren't I? They'd say up, wouldn't they?
Yes.
Yeah,
Every
they can't.
time.
They shouldn't. They can't.
Yeah, but when you asked that question in that debate you were having when you were with Patrick Gunnels, the guy said air for any evidence. They could have gas pressure without containment. He said air. That's exactly what he was talking about, correct?
Yeah. He's assuming that we have air and the sky is a vacuum by his assumption. And it's not filling it because the religion says that we've got air and we have got a sky vacuum. Therefore, that's my evidence that we have got a sky vacuum and it's not filling it. It's like, no, that's a straight up violation of the law of thermodynamics that I've appealed to explain why we haven't got a sky vacuum. Just look up. When he said air, that is what he meant. However, because he offered zero context, it was just a very humorous line. What's your demonstration of gas pressure without a container? Air. And then I think Patrick was like, come again? What? I stuck that on a shorts video and it's ended up with several thousand views. So it's a very popular video on YouTube.
Yeah, he pulled the
So
Brendan.
air is not pressurized gases then?
No, he's just appealing. The point of this is that when we ask them for an example of gas pressure without a container, they'll say, well, the air itself is an example of gas pressure without a container because we do have a vacuum, we do have gas pressure, and it ain't filling it. No, that's straight up begging the question. And a violation of natural law.
Exactly, because air is exactly what we are breathing. In other words, gas pressure. So for the existence of air, it needs to be in the pressure in the first place.
Right. actually got that clip. Shall I play it? Space-time doesn't hold it in a container.
And if I could say something else, Josh, you do bring up the concept of gravity, and that's what holds our so-called atmosphere here. I would ask you, what evidence do you have that gas gets acted upon by so-called gravity?
Air.
What?
Air.
That's not an answer. What evidence do you have that gas gets pulled on by gravity?
Air.
Space-time doesn't hold it. That's it. That's an old clip. That's pretty funny, man. I forgot about him. We can just disagree to disagree.
We can just disagree to disagree. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
Have you heard the latest Dave Weiss quote?
No.
Go and check out Level Earth Observer's video, where he's got a little clip of Dave Weiss discussing Jaron and Witzit's trip down to the antipodal position that Antarctica resides in, and how if they observe a 24-hour sun in the assumed to be antipodal position that Antarctica is in when on a ball, then they'll have to come back and concede it's a ball. It's going to set the cat amongst the pigeons when they come back and tell us that it's on a ball. But that's just going to be a benefit to Flat Earth when Jaron and Witzit come back telling us that it is the antipodal assumption that they assumed when they went down to Antarctica and then saw 24-hour sun disconnected from that original assumption, and tell us that it is because we're on a ball, and Dave Weiss would also agree. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Mo, Larry, and Curly are already baltards. I've told you that a long time ago.
Yeah. It could just be a really big ball, end quote, David Weiss. Sad, really.
Is he making the argument for ignorance right there?
Yeah. We discussed this in yesterday's pre-show, right? If you oppose a position that you understand not to be true and defy it anyway, we've decided to label that an argument for ignorance as opposed to an argument from ignorance. So an argument for ignorance would be exampled perfectly by Thunderfoot. You go out and you measure a flat Earth. You get an angle from the flat Earth on the surface of the flat Earth. You then, quote, tell yourself it's the same, end quote, as an angle in hell. You just tell yourself this is the same as this. That's an argument for ignorance. So you know it's not measured in hell. You know it's not functioning in hell. But if you just tell yourself that it is in hell, then you're arguing for ignorance then, aren't you? Because you're defying the measurement you've just took. But it's okay, it's cool by you, you're okay to be ignorant, even though you know it isn't the case. You know it's not that ignorant position of being in the centre of hell. You know that's not the case, but you've decided you're going to tell yourself it is. So an argument for ignorance.
Hey, can you plug Ballbusters this Saturday? It's going to be Flight. We're going to hit it three ways from Sunday.
Oh, it's going to be an absolutely epic show on Saturday. How can I plug this without giving away what's going to be epic? There's something that gives it away too. Just give me 10 seconds to think how I can phrase this without basically defying what Brian's explicitly told me not to do. I'll just plug Ballbusters. Ballbusters is going to be amazing on Saturday, and you must be there. It's going to be on the same channel I've plugged 3 times already, which is the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel, Be Here or Be Sphere. So it's Ballbusters, usual times. That's 7 p.m. UK. No, it's not. It's 8 p.m., isn't it? 8 p.m. UK.
Correct. 8 p.m. US Central.
8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. US Central. Be Here or Be Sphere. And yeah, you're not going to want to miss Saturday's Ballbusters. It's akin to a Black Swan moment in terms of being... Adam's ruining this. Hello, Adam.
I mean to stop you bloody ruining it.
Yeah.
I haven't ruined anything. Nobody knows a damn thing. I've been about as vague as I could possibly be. I've said it's a big deal. I've said it's like you wouldn't want to have missed the Black Swan that converted refracted curvature. He was telling us and regaling us with the fact that he was there at the live stream when that got released and it converted him to being from a baller to a flat earther. Well, this is another one of those moments. You don't want to miss Ballbusters on Saturday. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think there's going to be any new information coming out on there.
Nothing
We've
new
done
under
this
the sun.
before.
Yes, there's nothing new under the sun.
What?
Well, for a start, you're
All
going
there
in...
is, me and Brian will be spending a little bit of time before Saturday smartening up the old presentations and just adding a little touch of nuance here and a sprinkling of data here. Yeah, so something to look forward to, I think.
If you want to know
Yeah.
what that translates to, Brian's coming across on the ferry and they're both going to go and get shit-faced.
That's it. We're off out in Blackpool. No, but we've got a bit of work to do this week in readiness for Ballbuster, so I'm looking forward to it.
You're still kind of low. Did you get a new mic yet?
No.
Hopefully that'll be resolved by Saturday. But with that, I am going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Good stuff. I love a good space show. You're going to be working out with Brian. We're getting together tomorrow to do the book. That's still okay.
Is it going to be like? Is it going to be the same way as Monday getting together to do the book?
We're supposed to get together on Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, were we?
Yeah. Remember, I said it was tentative, but then it came to fruition. But you were gone. Yeah, I woke up late, and your show was already over. So I said, I'll just get into the Discord, not to the Discord. I'll just get into the Google Meet. So tried to enter that, and it spun around for about 30 minutes. It's only 9:20 in the morning. So I said, oh, okay. I guess there's no book today.
Ah, fair enough. So it's my fault. Well, we'll definitely do tomorrow.
That's when you went to get milk. You went to get milk. I remember that.
Oh, right. Yes. What? When I say I went to get milk, I just wanted a walk, because what I'd done right before the live show was, like, to get all the creases out of my shirt, I've, like, pulled it down and sat on it. And then I've looked in the camera and gone, oh, I'm too low. So I've then stretched to get myself, you know, to straighten out my back. But because I'm sat on the T-shirt, I've suddenly pulled about 3 or 4 muscles in my shoulders right at the beginning of the live show. So I'm like, ow! I did it, and I was like, bloody hell, and the intro's running. So I'm like, so I get myself sorted out, do my intro in pain, and then do the hour show. And as soon as it was finished, I'm like, I want to round out this this after show as soon as humanly possible. I need to get out of this chair and physically move around. And so I did. I rounded it out. I'm like, right, I'm gonna go out and get some milk. In other words, I'm just gonna go to the shops, basically, because it's like a 10-minute walk or something. And Brian's like, I feel robbed. I'm a member. I've paid for a membership. I live for these after shows. It's the most important. It's the most critical, and you're robbing us of it. I'm like, I've just hurt my back, Brian. He's like, no, that was it. And you hurt your back last time that you rounded out. I'm like, I do 4-hour shows almost twice daily. And Brian's in nagging me, and all I'm thinking is, I just need to go out and stretch my arms a bit. It's being nagged at for not having a long enough after show.
Pulled muscles while stretching? Just stretching in a chair?
Because I was sat on the T-shirt, so it was resisting what I was trying to do.
I get it. So, do you even lift, bruh?
No. Well, I'll pick my kids up.
Pick my kids up?
Yeah.
Things you do to make sure your shirt's flat.
Yeah, I just didn't want a creased shirt. I mean, it's just something I've done ever since I've started the show. You just, you know, you put the camera on, see that you're in the middle of it, and that your shirt doesn't look all creased.
Flat.
Wow.
There's a couple issues there. Ever heard of an iron? Number one. Number two, I thought you were sort of a younger man. You could be able to survive a little bit. Maybe I made the wrong choice.
No, I'm fine. It's just, well, for whatever reason, that particular stretch caused a problem. It doesn't suddenly mean I'm 80. But now I'm not as young. You know, I'm not exactly old either, but it doesn't mean, you know, don't occasionally feel like, bloody hell, I could have done that 10 years ago. Now I can't.
All right, back to the topic. You were saying, excuse me. Road. What happens when you wake up early in the morning, not ready for this? So you're saying Mo, Larry, and Curly now are all going to the affirming the consequent form of logical fallacies?
No, I don't know, and I don't watch, but from what I glean from commenters and response videos, Dave was, like me, offered to go and turned down. Although I haven't officially done that, Dave officially turned it down with the justification that he saw, this is from gossip, Will Duffy as a demon.
He's a doofus is what he is. And isn't it strange? No one has officially asked you. It's all been done on the sidelines with videos. Why don't you come in and just ask him? There, Will, or Creaky the crackhead.
Well,
just come in and ask him directly.
More than 60,000 views on Nathan Oakley video.
Again,
Will Duffy got that.
I didn't catch that new moon one more time.
Will Duffy got more than 60,000 views on the video he made on you.
Yeah,
3 or 5 days back.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I'm reading between the lines correctly when I say it's a bit like psychopathic future faking, when the act of talking about it is just as good as the outcome. In other words, in many ways, it matters not whether I go or not, because he can talk about it. Just inviting me gives him the ability to add my name to the discussion. That's just as good.
Did anyone invite you?
Not officially. Nobody's come up to me and gone, "Hey, Nathan, do you want to go to Antarctica?"
There you go. No one's officially invited him. They haven't come on the show and asked him. Simple.
Yeah, but that wasn't New Moon's point. I think New Moon's point is the mere suggestion of it is satisfactory for the outcome, isn't it?
Well, I understand that, but that's not my point.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Just didn't want New Moon to feel like we'd ignored him.
Oh, no, we didn't. I know what they're doing. It's like second grade playground idiocy because they're cowards. Not only morons, but cowards. Yes, and I'm stereotype fallacy. Globetards. Or anti-flat earthers. Same thing.
I mean, Brian's spin on this is to say it is cowardice in the respect that they can effectively hand wave 10 years worth of stuff. It's like, well, what? Not facing it by repositioning a new fraud claimed to be science is their way of ignoring 10 years worth of stuff. Then that is pretty cowardly.
Yeah, they play a video of you 10 years ago, right? You're a young lad. It's laughable, right? And they say, well, Nathan said this 10 years ago. Well, things have changed since then. But you can Jedi mind trick your idiot subscribers because they're globetards and anti-flat earthers anyway, and pretend you have a point without coming in and asking them. Come in and ask them. Yeah. Let's try that. Hope I'm here.
Yeah, and I'd love to give an answer once I have all of the issues that I've got with it addressed by person inviting me, potentially, Will. So if he was to come on the show and say, hey, I'd like you to come to Antarctica, I've got you a sponsor. Yeah, I heard about that in a video. Yeah, I'd say, okay, well, I've already asked you several questions about this. The first thing I put to you was, where's the independent and dependent variable for your experiment? Further to that, we've put the antipodal assumption, and now two, thanks to Quantum Eraser's correct identification of the second, affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, with respect to a globe Earth assumption and a flat Earth assumption, that'll be affirmed or dismissed based on the observation of a 24-hour sun. Well, that's two, affirming the consequent fallacy, set up in false dichotomy. All of those things would have to be addressed.
The fraud would have to be addressed. The one we already demonstrated, there's been fraudulent behavior by Duffy, and his statement would have to address that first. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That was my comment. Like, on Nathan Oakley video on Will Duffy's channel, I just commented like, why you are just making the shitty videos? Just go to Flat Earth debates and just talk to him directly. And he just saw the comment, but he didn't like it or any. He just ignored the comment. And like I also messaged on Mr. Sensible, like he's saying like he will provide you Nathan Oakley £1,000 if he go there for free trip. Then he will pay you £1,000 extra.
Are you joking?
Mr. Dumbass
Let me get
Sensible
it straight.
is already in the fray too. Well, why not just come on the show and ask him?
How long does this trip last in total? From when you first would be leaving your front door to when you actually arrive home? How long would it take?
Don't know.
I haven't got a clue.
They haven't provided any details.
It can't take very long if they're only going to be remunerated with £1,000. So what?
That's where I was going. Adam obviously
3 or
sniffed
4
out where
days.
I was going with that. Yes, exactly, Adam.
Don't know any of it. Has anyone come in and explained it to you?
No.
There you go.
But ain't it our responsibility to sniff out every time some glue sniffer offers a challenge on their channel? And it our responsibility to go there and watch their entire stupid video?
Yeah, that's how they...
No, Mr. Sensible, his whole thing was like, in Nathan Oakley, you just need to go there and just don't do anything, just sit there or just record a stick shadow for 24 hours and you don't need to do anything. And I'll pay you £1,000 extra, and you will get a free trip also.
Extra to what?
He made that video.
Extra to what?
Free trip of Uncut.
Like free? No, it would significantly affect my income. Now, unlike when I eventually was put into a corner by Ian Leahy, when I said no, my objection would be that it would cost me money. But in Mr. Sensible's mind, he thinks remuneration is £1,000, and that this is beneficial by way of a, quote, free trip that takes me away from my revenue stream. Now, this isn't to say that if Will Duffy came along and said I'd pay you 30 grand to go, I'd agree. I still wouldn't. But my point is that in Mr. Sensible's mind, £1,000 should do it. Okay. Is this man insane?
Who? Sensible? Oh, yeah, he's a retard. At best, you disprove the radius of the Earth.
Yeah, that's what I tell him in my comments. So he came into my comments and stated something like, you don't respond to me, you keep running away. I'm like, you came in 2 days ago and left a comment, and I responded with your quote of, at best you debunk the radius of Earth. Like, you got to lie to Glurf. Like, comes in comments after being responded to and says I've been ignoring him. I'm like, no, I don't. I read all the comments. Same goes for McToon. It's been, I'll have to double check this, but I think it's 92 occasions that I've told him that his 10k challenge requires flat earth elevation angles. Because he comes to me, I haven't seen his video of the 10k challenge. I don't watch McToon. But I understand the base principle of elevation angles which he used in his challenge. As soon as I found that out, I started pointing out to him what his challenge used as part of the process, which is flat earth angles. Now, 92 times later, what's his response? He called me a child abuser several times. That's his response.
Were you expecting anything less?
No, that's what I'm saying. These people are delusional.
The sun is solid enough, right, McBugger Eater? Clown of an idiot.
Well, you know, if you observe the sun above the horizontal plane of reference for more than 24 hours, the horizontal plane of reference is not a horizontal plane of reference somehow.
I mean, like I say, in any official capacity, I've not been invited or declined. So, like, if you were a baller, wouldn't you be demanding that the things that we've discussed, because we've heard on the grapevine via YouTube videos that apparently there's a sponsor? Oh, is there? What's the sponsor's name? Has he contacted me? Oh, so we don't know anything about it. We've got our objections that were in place before I was invited. Suddenly the invitation takes priority? What about the objections? They came first. Let's have them overcome. Then we'll deal with the invitation.
What invitation?
When it comes. So when he comes in, he'll be like, oh, I'm here to invite... Whoa, 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 whoa. We'll get to that after we deal with the thing I first put to you when you came out with an experiment and you ignored. Where's your independent and dependent variable? Before the invitation, I'd accused you of fraud. So no, you're not here to suddenly subvert all of that by saying, I've got an invite. I couldn't give a toss. It's like some burglar robbing your shed and then 2 days later coming and saying, do you want to come to my party? Got a really nicely mowed lawn. You're like, you robbed my lawnmower. Yeah, but I mean, let's not deal with that. We'll deal with the invitation first. I'm inviting you to a party. You've robbed my lawnmower. Yeah, you're a fraud,
Yeah,
Duffy.
Nathan Oakley.
So if Duffy comes in here,
Why not?
the first thing he'll be dealing with is his fraud. Not his invitation that's come after I've accused him of fraud.
I'd like to hear the invitation,
Yeah.
personally. Who's talking behind us?
Yeah. Can we
New Moon. Go ahead.
can we invite Will Duffy on the channel, because he is like willing to do interviews. So
Sorry.
he's saying like anyone can, any flat earther can invite me for an interview. So just invite him on the channel for the interview and then show him like your experiment is a fraud.
So I
Then
should invite him on my show for him to invite me to Antarctica. It's a public show. I've said over 2,000 times that anybody can join. It is a public gateway for everyone. No invitation needed. He can stroll in any day. Now, you'd think that would be first priority, wouldn't you? I'm going to invite that bartender. Hold on, just let me make an example. I'm going to invite the local bartender to go to the moon. How are you going to do it? You know what? There's a couple of choices here. I could stroll through his front door and ask him, or I could release a series of TikTok videos. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to release a series of TikTok. Why don't you just walk into the bar and ask the barman if he wants to go?
I would say it's because the perception that you have been invited is more important and than the actual inviting you.
Exactly. That was what New Moon came in with. That was his first point, although I did read between the lines to get there. Yes. Doesn't matter. It doesn't need me to be personally invited. It's not necessary. Did he get in touch with me immediately after a sponsor contacted him? No, he immediately made a video. It's because that's not the point. Just needs the accreditation of my name next to it. That's all he needs. And he's getting that by saying, I've invited him.
Yeah, and Will Duffy got more than 60,000 views on that video.
Yeah, it just means
After
that
he made
that's just YouTube algorithmic favoritism. If you make a video with my name in it, it will get put in YouTube algorithmic favor or not if you're an anti-flat earther with my name in your title. Now me, it's not going to make any difference. Doesn't matter what I produce, it goes to the bottom of the list. So that's just algorithmic favoritism to anti-flat earthers. Doesn't have anything to do with me or Will Duffy specifically. Just, it's an anti-flat earth video. Yeah, anyone's welcome to join. Obviously, if it's Will Duffy, there's several issues we'd have to get out of the way before we got to the invitation stage. In other words, I'd want to deal with my stolen lawnmower first. Yeah? I'd need to be getting that out of the way first. This whole thing is designed to hand-wave 10 years' worth of stuff. Brian's absolutely correct. The invitation is no different. It's essentially what, in his mind, undermines everything we've put to him to date. Because now there's an invitation. That supersedes everything, doesn't it? What, you supersede your frauds, supersede your antipodal assumptions, supersede your begging the question fallacy, supersede your affirming the consequent fallacies, in false dichotomy fallacies. No, it doesn't supersede any of it.
I heard like Austin and Jaron also rejected a trip to Antarctica because there was some problems between them.
Whitsit's rejected the
And
offer too.
Yeah, like some people was discussing on Telegram, like in their group, and they was like, okay, if we are not going, it's okay, because we are like, there are some problems they are facing in some contract or something. So they both rejected Ashton and Jaron 2 days back.
Witsit and Jaron have both rejected going
because it was stupid.
There again, Witsit and Jaron have both said they're pulling out.
Yeah.
So there is nobody from the Flat Earth side going then?
No, not a single one.
Oh dear.
They're saying there's risk of money, like there is risk of money and life or something. Like if we don't go, then Will Duffy can put any kind of court case against Jaron and Austin if there are some circumstances, and they have to pay money to Will Duffy. So Will Duffy was making a contract like that.
Will Duffy had a contract that could potentially leave Jaron liable for things to pay?
Yeah, all the money to pay. If there is some circumstances happening and they are not able to join the trip, then they have to pay money to Will Duffy. The loss of money Will Duffy has, all money has to be paid by Jaron and Austin with some interest or something.
So when he said it's a free trip, it's not.
That's a free trip, but just imagine that after signing the contract, if like there is something happening and then they reject, like there are some possibilities, and they was talking about that, and then they decided no, we don't have to go because there are some issues that can lead the cancellation of the trip, and then they have to pay the money to Will Duffy, so they rejected.
I see. So it could potentially leave a flat earther liable for 30 grand if for some unfortunate circumstances they couldn't go.
The way the contract would probably read is if they agreed to go on the trip and backed out, then they would be liable. That was probably what his contract was going to be.
Right, exactly.
On the one hand, I don't see that's unreasonable, though. If you've said, look, if I'm going to invest in this ticket and it's going to be in your name and I buy it for 30k and arrange your sleeping, food and travel for a certain period, and once I've invested all the money, you then say, I'm not going, I've essentially wasted 30k on you pissing me around. So that you don't piss me around, there's an incentive to not piss me around in the contract. You'd want some sort of protection if you were offering to pay 30 grand for somebody, wouldn't you? I don't know if that's a reasonable contractual clause or not. I'm not a contract expert, but I would want something like that.
It's reasonable. What? Did they expect anything different? What's it, boy zero? Do you figure out what nouns and verbs are yet? I'm shocked it took you this long to figure out about the contract situation. Yeah, that's not unreasonable.
No, I mean, the way we're getting it paraphrased from New Meaning. Go on, John.
I was going to say that's the only reasonable thing I've heard out of any of this is to be held accountable for backing out, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah.
So their excuse that they're using to back out is if I commit to it, I can't back out. I'm going to back out. Why? Because if I commit to it, I can't. So I'm going to do it now.
Now, we're just going off secondhand information here.
Yeah.
We're making fun of these morons. Well, we don't know this for a fact.
We haven't seen the contract. Exactly. We don't know what is contractual. And it does seem reasonable that you'd want some clause in there to stop the person that you're paying for from just buggering off when it's contentious.
Sure.
Are we doing book tomorrow? You okay with that, Adam?
You're invading on my Wednesdays, man.
Okay. Ballbusters invaded my Saturdays for about 5 years. Which one?
That's part of it. You're 49% part of that.
Yeah, I know.
Have y'all
So because there's a contractual obligation, I'm not allowed to moan about it. There's no contractual obligation, by the way. This is just cynical. What's the word? I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
You need to be recording the book making, and then after the book.
No.
Yes, you do, because that is the I don't know it's hilarious.
It's just four grown men yelling at each other.
It's not meant to be hilarious.
It's just
it's the way you all interact with each other, you know, because like it's an argument, but you're laughing while you're arguing too, and then you know tempers flare, and then you laugh again. I don't know. It's just I think it's funny.
It's pure passion. That's what it is. It's people that are pretty consumed with the subject matter that's being discussed, and so because of the high level of passion, things that may not be that important seem like life and death in the level of passion that they're being argued with. So at certain points during the last session that we did, you know, Brian had an end that he wanted to get to, and the process is stopping him just getting there, and it's frustrating the hell out of him. And the whole time, everyone's like, well, we don't necessarily need this bit. It's a bit convoluted. And Brian's getting more and more wound up because he just wants it committing to paper. And it is a process, and it takes a long time. So he's got a point that he wants making. It's going to be made. And, you know, it's incredibly important to Brian in that moment because he's passionate about it. And you're like, it'll ooze out of every page of the book, though, as a result. But it is just grown men with a lot of passion, wanting their point to be understood because it is the most important point being made that moment.
Well, yeah. I mean, I ain't saying I don't mean to take away from the points being made, but it's just the way that like Huey, Adam, and Brian interact with each other. It's funny. I can't help it. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like it gets me tickled.
You don't know the half of it. You haven't been here from the beginning.
I'm glad it amused you because I find it incredibly stressful. So
yeah,
I can cope. I can literally forget about conflicts that I have with the fundies. They're written off the minute the show finishes. Half the time you'll ask me about somebody I've discussed something with, and the following day I can't even remember. Whereas internal debates, like with, let's take it away from us, like with Jaron or with Dave, they really stick with me. They weigh heavy and stress me out. Yeah? Those are the things that do actually get to me. So while I'm dealing with it in the moment, you're like chuckling about how amusing it is that Brian will interact. I'm like, this has got consequences for something with my name on it. You know, so I'm just sitting here gripping the chair arms and trying not to swear at them all and lose them as friends forever. Which is initially what was happening. So I just deleted them actually as I was transferring stuff around the computer. So I came across those recordings and listened to it. And some of the early ones, I'm like, because obviously I'm passionate about it. And in the early stages, they're wanting to take stuff away from it. And I'm obviously defensive. And I'm getting really angry with them to the point where listening back, you're like, why are these people my friends? I'm so horrible to them.
The first ones were really bad. You were like to the point of absolute fucking losing it. And well, you did a couple times.
Yeah, I'd lose my shit with them as they're ripping apart bits of my book. And after the fact, I'd like stroll around the room, whatever I do to get my blood pressure back down. And then I'd be like, I'm really sorry, guys. Like, I don't want you to all give up on me, and I want you to still be my friends. And I've got all these problems. They're just laughing at me while I'm doing this because I'm feeling severe guilt. For them, it's just part of the course, and they've moved on to the next paragraph while I'm pacing it out. You know what I mean? I'm sure that is amusing from an outsider, and I'm talking about it with me in the context. It does sound funny.
I'd just like to point out how appreciative I am of your time.
That's me. I just want to say how grateful I am that you guys are giving us so much time to do this. I'm really grateful. This is after screaming at them.
Adam stopped them one time after Nathan went off and said something to the effect of, "Listen here, son. We're doing this for you. Now, if you don't want me to do this for you, I'm gonna fucking go." I was losing it. Yeah, when Adam, it was a really serious moment, right? Way back there.
It took about 3 sessions for me to just let go and go, okay, this is happening. I've just got to go with it. I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Nah, you're lowballing. It was more than 3 sessions.
Yeah, I know. It's probably 6.
Took that long for us to realise we were going to do it all properly, or start again. That was actually what we had to do.
That
So
was
a lot of the early stress was Nathan wanting to just tick this off, just to prove it, will you? Just to prove it. Can't approve it. It's not right.
We're talking about whole paragraphs, though. We're not talking about like a sentence or a full stop or a word. We're talking about like, nah, this whole section's going to go. And you're looking at a page of work and going, what? No, this can be rewritten. Nah, I think we'll just bin the whole. We'll just scrap this, and you see it just vanish. Like now we've got to recreate that, and you're like, there was a whole 3 or however 6 month process to create it in the first place. You just put red line through it, and go, get rid of it. You're watching this, going, what are you doing? Stop! It is better for it. I can't deny it. Now we're 90% there. It is better, far better.
Better. Yeah, it's not the same book. Not even close. And it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, better. Let's go back over this again. It's wormhole warp galaxies better.
That's all down to you, Brian, Eli, Neil, Adam. Little bit refracted at the end. I'm very grateful I am for your time. Thank you so much.
I know that. So, yes, I'll acquiesce for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. That bullshit was all worth it. Oh, I'm off mute. Shit.
The only issue we might have is me and Brian. But I'll speak to him today.
No, that's fine. I hadn't thought about that. That's very inconsiderate. Yes, you and Brian have got stuff to do. So if tomorrow's not convenient, then fine. I'll just forego, because that's an ongoing project that is just like dragging. But fine, it's going to drag. That is imminent for Saturday. So if you can't because of that, then that's absolutely fine.
I'm not free till 6. I'm at work till 6 again tomorrow anyway. So I'm free after them, but from about 6:30 onwards.
We couldn't hear you.
I said I'm free from about 6:30 tomorrow, but I'm at work anyway till then. So
that's half after 12 for me, correct?
Yeah.
So you're not free until then?
No. Not at my computer anyway, so I can assume stenographer roles.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Well, we're nearly towards the end. So, right?
No.
Yeah.
We've got a fair bit to do still.
I know that.
Those first few sessions we've got to go through now and just attack those, which is
What first few sessions?
The first few housekeeping questions that we just verbally critiqued, we've just got to go through and do ourselves again.
Really?
We've got recordings that we could reference if we need to. But it's just the first few ones. It was just like 4 hours long for the recording for Chuck, and it ended up. I don't think they'll be that productive to go back through.
No, we are not going back through those. We'll just start them anew.
Yeah, we've got them in our head. We've got the critique in our head.
We got them in our head. Yeah, we just got to put pen to paper. That's it.
I think we can all agree we've got it in our head.
Yes.
Someone from Discord that wanted to add something.
Sorry, I was hot micing.
No worries. Right, will I get moaned at if I round out?
Brian's not here.
Yeah, I'm going to round out. Okay, with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hitting me up on PayPal and Ko-Fi and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.